Welcome back to Becky Amio Horse Training. I'm Becky and this is LR Blue Ambrose, and he's a 2-year-old stud colt prospect for Lowing Ranch here in Blunt, South Dakota. This is the third ride I'm going to put on him today, and if you've been following along, in our second ride we had 2 days ago, he was starting to get a little crabby here in the round pen and he was getting a little resentful of me, so I'm going to take him into the arena for the first time today, and I'm going to show you what I do on a colt when I would go from the round pen to their first ride in the arena. So keep on watching. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, ask a question. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching. One thing I forgot to mention when I was doing my introduction there is that I had already done all of his groundwork and warmed him up properly before I even started here, so he's ready to go. I forgot to mention that. So we're gonna go through all of the mounting and dismounting again and do a quick refresher. Like I said, he had 2 days off. We'd been hunting on Saturday and Sunday, and this is Monday now after opening day. So back and forth, making sure he still remembers everything. Once I commit to staying up there, I practice bending his head around. Now right there he resisted and he pulled away. It's really important that I pull his head back around and hold him there until I release him, because had I have let him loose and let him take his head away, that would have been the beginning of a very bad habit. So we have to address everything as it happens when we're starting them like this. And once he flexes his head both directions, I take him out to the rail and we get right to work. I am not going to bore this colt anymore. I'm going to practice my emergency stop on him this direction, and then change directions with him and practice the emergency stop going the other way. So JD was trying to video me from a different angle in this video, and this colt did not want to go to the side of the round pen that he was standing on, and he was perfectly fine with going past that gelding that's tied over there, but he didn't want to come all the way to where JD is. And so there's going to be a short edit clip where JD had to change positions and get back to the spot where he'd been videoing me at to get this colt to use the entire round pen. And once he gets up there, I'm able to practice a good emergency stop from this direction. I want to make sure I'm practicing my emergency stop from both directions at all 3 speeds. And I'm post-trotting along with him to pick up the correct lead. I'm losing a little bit of forward motion in here in the round pen, and sometimes these horses that are raised out like him, they lose the forward motion like that, and they do need to get out in the open, in a wide open space to get that. And I especially see it here going to the right, And you'll see I have to use my rein to spank him on the butt a little bit to get him to take the lope for me and hold the lope for me. Now this lack of forward motion problem is going to be easily fixed as soon as I take him outside the round pen, so I'm not too worried about it. Right here, as we start to walk out, he's kind of looking to that lick tub to stop there for me to get off him, and again, I'm okay that he's looking at that. That's fine with me. I'm going to keep on walking him around, and while we're walking out quietly here, I am going to start asking him for a turn on the forehand again. I always want to readdress this and make sure I've got it, and I've got that lateral movement there. Something else I want to point out here is that as soon as he does the maneuver I'm asking for, I release the pressure and I pet him on his neck and I rub it from the top back down. Now here again, I kick his hip over, release, rub his neck, pet him, and then ask again. That's how quick the reward needs to be for asking for the technique I was asking him to do. And I never allow him to turn back and go the other direction, because eventually we're going to do a roll back or a roll away on the fence, and I want him to take that hip to the inside instead of to the outside of that turn back, okay? I'll explain what I'm talking about later, but right here I'm kind of drilling on it a little bit, and the reason I'm drilling on it is because I'm going to need this maneuver in order to open and close this gate here shortly in order to go to the arena. So I'm going to kind of drill on it both directions and make sure I have a good response, because I don't want the gate to be the source of training. I want the training to come from right here on the rail, and I don't want him to associate the gate with a problem, because there's always an issue that develops when you're working a gate. It never fails. So you want to be able to make sure you have a good hip control before you address that gate. I also don't normally have a gelding standing tied to the rail of the round pen when I'm working in here like this, but it sure worked out good for this colt to learn how to deal with riding past somebody that was standing on the rail like that. I think I might start doing it more often. I'm going to take him back over to the round pen gate now, and I'm going to unmute the sound on this clip so you can hear how loud that gate is when it opens up, and that opening is right next to where his head is. And every colt has to go through this. Everybody has to, and they have to deal with the sound of that.
You're going to mute it out anyway, aren't you?
What's that?
You're going to mute it out anyway, aren't you?
Okay, so that was JD asking me if I was going to mute the clip, and I decided not to because I wanted you to hear how loud that gate is. Now the goal is to always keep your hand on the gate. In a show class, they require it, or at least you get points for having your hand still on the gate, and that's what I'm trying for with every horse that I start like this. And you know, and it's fine. He's going to move around. They all do this. They all struggle with going back to it because nobody wants to go back to the round pen and work, and that's okay. And my goal is to get him back over to that gate as tight as he can possibly get. It's not just about closing the gate at this point because I got it closed, but I want him to finish standing as tight to that panel as he can. I'm really specific about this because this is essentially patterning him. Now, you see me stomping in my stirrups, giving him the cue that I'm going to step off of him. That's where he gets his reward. He gets his reward when he's standing right up next to that gate. Okay, he wouldn't have been rewarded, he wouldn't have learned where to stand had I have dismounted him over here by this four-wheeler or on the way halfway to the arena. And, you know, we're essentially patterning them, but what I'm trying to teach is a horse that self-protects, a horse that is dummy-proof, because there's a lot of riders out there that do not know how to work a gait properly on the horse, and I want the horse to know how to do it in order to teach the rider properly how to get it done. So I'm still going to mount him using a block here in the arena or my lick tub. And when I get on, I am still going to bend him around both directions and make sure he flexes his head for me, now out in this wide open space. When I first go into the arena, my first ride is just kind of about getting around. I want them to just get around it, kind of on the rail, get acquainted with it, learn their perimeter. And as you could see when I was mounting up, I do have this arena. I use it as a turnout for horses, and I do have some colts living in here, so they get fed in here. So one of the problems that I run into is I don't use the north side of my arena, and colts are required to only use about 3/4 of the arena, and they lose that rail as a balance point. And I have to teach them where their perimeter is as I come across that side of the arena. Now again, the faster I can make his feet move, the faster he's going to learn. So we take a trot right away. I don't want to bore him. So you can see we're not using the entire arena here, and we have to make our corner now, or our side, that north side, is a rail that's not there. So he has to balance himself as he comes across. As we come around right on this lap, you really see that he wants to drift. And every horse does this with me. And I have to really focus on where I want to ride them to. Let my body language tell them direction I want them to go. And it doesn't help me one bit that the gate is on that side and that all of his friends and the corrals are back that direction. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time here going back and forth and teaching him to go to the other side of the arena. There are some horses that spook once they get to the south side of the arena, and they sure as heck don't want to be down there. They'd rather be at the other end. So it's quite the struggle to teach them to go clear to this other end of the arena. Part of the reason for the extreme drift like this is because they don't have the balance. They don't have the muscle development or the strength to control their shoulders and their body when going in a circle in an arc like that. It takes quite a bit of development to get them strong enough to make this circle without having to balance on the rail. And so at this point, it's just easier for me to down-regulate him, bend him around, do an emergency stop the forward motion, and then change direction and go the other way. As we come back around to the left here, this is his good side, and he's able to balance himself a little bit more. This is where I have to be really strong in my core and in my legs and support him as we come around that corner. It takes a tremendous amount of strength on my part to help him balance as he goes around. And this is just another reason why you don't want the guy that can just ride a buck to be starting your colts for you. So again, all I'm trying to do is get them acquainted with the arena, 2 to 3 good quality laps around, where he's not completely resisting and drifting all over the place on me is good enough for me. And I'm going to keep forward motion here. I'm going to trot him in a circle, and I'm going to change directions, and we're going to go back now to the right. Something else I want to point out there on that circle I just made, I did change my diagonal in that circle by sitting a beat. If you missed it, rewind the video and go back and look at the top of that circle. I sat a beat and changed my diagonal. I am now posting with that right diagonal. I am up in the air off of his back when his front right foot is hitting the ground. Okay, and that is super important to get in timing with them. As we come around again, we can see that this is his tough side. That left shoulder and that left hip are going the direction of the north, and I'm taking his head to the right. What I do is I take my right leg back, kick that hip around and straighten it out because that's his driver, and I take him back in a straight line again directly towards the rail. And at this point, I'm not looking for perfection, I'm just looking at getting him around. I just kind of want him to get acquainted and get used to this is how we make a lap around the arena. So he was starting to get tired, and I decided to let him come down to a walk. And I want to show you how important it is that I allow him to rest on the south side of the arena. That's the side that he doesn't want to be on. And so I'm going to deliberately let him rest when we get down to that side. And now I'm just going to let him walk and play game over for a little bit. And I'm going to ask him for the lope next. I start by taking a trot, get the correct diagonal, start to set him up and ask him for the left lead. I find it's easiest for me to pick up a lead on this side of the arena, and coming around in a straight line is real easy for them to do, and then starting to ask for that bend there, that just doesn't come naturally to horses, and that's a difficult maneuver for a young colt, actually any age of horse, to do if their muscles aren't developed properly to do it. Okay, so there's a certain amount of muscle memory in being able to do a proper circle on a horse. So he's going to break down to a trot, and that's okay. I don't get after him. I just let him trot, and we pick up the lope again. No big deal. What I'm trying to do is just get around this corner here and hopefully keep that left lead up. I'm going to bend him around, down regulate because we were just drifting too far. Just change direction, it's okay. Head back the other direction. So we've got the right lead going this direction. I'm going to drive him through this corner. And again, he struggles and he drifts. And it's okay. And one of the reasons I don't want to be on this side of the arena is because the footing is not good. I have had a horse slip and fall with me over here, so I don't like to use this side of the arena at all, and I have to make him stay on the other side. So it's going to get a little western here. He obviously doesn't want to go down to the other end. He wants to go out that gate. He wants to be done. And honestly, every single colt goes through this learning curve. Some just have a harder time with it than others. You give me a good red filly and she will flat tell me no and try to buck my butt off and put me in the ground. Everybody's just a little bit different. So I'm going to spank him with my rein here to keep him going forward. I just got to keep on driving him forward, keep those feet moving forward. So this time around we're starting to get somewhere. I start my turn across the arena a little bit sooner than I had been because we're getting such a bad drift. It's okay. I square him up, he gets through it, and now we're getting somewhere. So I'm really happy at this point how he's starting to continue forward motion, stay in his left lead, and learn his perimeter of the arena, and learn to take the shape here and hold himself together. I'm going to go one more time here. And it took a little bit of encouraging with my rein, but we get through it. And I'm going to let him stop and rest down at this far end. And it's so important that I let him rest down at this far end and instill this from the very first rides. He has to learn that being down on the south side of this arena is the best place to be. And he's not going to have to work as hard down here as he ever would down at the other side. I take the opportunity to roll him back into the rail, and that was a really nice roll. He wants to be really quiet and he wants to play game over, so I'm going to let him play game over and catch his breath before we try to do this to the right, and I'm going to catch my breath myself because this is something really difficult to get them to do. And it does. I keep on saying this, but I can't emphasize enough how much core it takes and how much leg it takes to get these colts around. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for somebody to just take up doing on a whim to decide, hey, I'm going to go break a colt on my own. It takes a certain level of physical fitness. So I'm picking up a trot now, posting on the correct diagonal, and I'm going to ask for the right lead. Now I did not get it. I'm not going to jerk him down. I'm not going to rip him around or anything. I'm just going to bend him and down regulate him and get him quiet. We're going to regroup. I'm going to change direction a couple times here, and then I'm going to ask him again. But you also don't want to let them lope on the wrong lead for an extended period of time either. So again, drifting, remember this was his weaker side. We have to address this now and send him back the direction we want him to go. And we pick up the right lead. And now I just need to get forward. So we get our forward motion here, but then we lose it and he drops to a trot as we come around the bend here. And this is what I was saying. It's really, really hard for them to hold that circle, to hold their body in that arc as they come around. It takes a certain amount of muscle memory. So I always have a lot of respect for people who can lope really pretty circles and trot really pretty circles, because this is not an easy technique to teach. So I get him through this bend at a trot, and we're going to pick up the lope again going to the right, because he has to lope it to the right going this direction. So I'm coming around on right lead, and I already start to encourage him with my rein. I've got his head bent pretty hard to the right, and he's drifting hard, and at this point I'm just going to spank the heck out of him. Keep those feet going. He can go all the way to that corner if he wants. He's going to have to haul butt out of that corner. We take the right lead again, take him on a straight line all the way to the south side, and we're going to get through this. The faster I make his feet move, the faster he's going to learn. He breaks down to a trot again on this corner, but look, now that turn on the north side of this arena is getting a whole lot better than it was just a few laps ago. So we're getting improvement, but now I'm looking to get that improvement at the speed that I want him to be at. And of course we take the wrong lead again, that's okay. I let him break down on his own, and we're going to take the right lead over on the side of the arena where I'm comfortable setting them up and asking for them to take the right lead once we get back over to this rail again. I want you to notice something here as I use my left rein on that left hip to take the right lead. There's a pattern here, and there's a level of consistency here with how I ask him to do things. When I go to the left, you'll see me use the right rein on the right hip. And there's a reason for that. It's to drive that hind end forward and to take that lead that direction. So now I get a really nice lap holding that right lead. I get another really nice lap here, and he's starting to play out on me. I can feel it. He's getting a little sulky through this corner, and I'm going to let him stop. And as soon as he stops down at this far southeast corner of the arena, I'm going to dismount, give him the cue that I'm getting off, and jump off. That is his reward for getting through that side of the arena. That's his reward for stopping like he did. That's his reward for going down to that end of the arena. Alright, so we worked through some pretty tough issues there, and you know, no secret, every single colt is like that, and that's what I work on. So, you know, if you like this video, if you want me to keep on going, I got 17 more rides to film. I'll be posting them, how this guy's progress goes. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like, share this video with your friends. I'm gonna go give this guy a long walk to cool him out, and I'm gonna go catch my breath and get a drink of water myself. Thanks for watching.